Hi everyone, this is Dr. Manu Krishnan K, and today we will be discussing about the deep muscles of front of the forearm. They are otherwise known as the deep flexor group of muscles. So it includes three muscles, and we have seen the superficial flexor group, right, in the previous class. There we had five muscles, and here in the deep muscle group we have three muscles. They are the flexor digitorum profundus, flexor pollicis longus, and the pronator quadratus. So we will see each of this muscle in detail with its action, nerve supply, as well as the origin and insertion. So we will be seeing each of them in detail. We'll start with the flexor digitorum profundus. So what is flexor digitorum profundus? The term profundus refers to the deep muscle, and flexor digitorum means it helps in the flexion of digits. So that itself defines the insertion point of this particular muscle, isn't it? If it is flexing the digits, it should have an insertion on the digits itself. So let's see from where it originates and where it gets inserted. So we'll start with the origin part. It is originating from the upper 3/4 of anterior and medial surface of the shaft of ulna. So here you can see the medial bone is ulna, and then we have the radius. And flexor digitorum profundus is particularly lying over the ulna bone, and it is arising from the upper 3/4 of anterior and medial surface of shaft of the ulna. That is a group of fibers, a set of fibers arising from that region. Then we have another set arising from the upper 3/4 of posterior border of the ulna. So you know about the posterior border of ulna that can be palpated on the forearm, like on the dorsum of the forearm. If you just run your fingers, you can find a bony ridge, and that represents nothing but the posterior border of ulna. So the upper 3/4 of posterior border will also give origin to some fibers of the flexor digitorum profundus. Then we have the anterior surface of interosseous membrane. So what is interosseous membrane? So between the interosseous borders of radius and ulna, there exists a small membrane, a tough, thin membrane connecting between the interosseous borders of radius and ulna, that is termed as the interosseous membrane. And from the anterior surface of this membrane, there are a few fibers arising which forms the flexor digitorum profundus. So there are three sets of fibers and they arise from these 3 points. And as you draw down, you can see that the muscle fibers are converging and finally they are splitting up into 4 tendons here, isn't it? You can see the green color represents the tendons, the tendinous part of the muscle. So we will have a closer look about the insertion. So here we have a clear picture where the lower part of the flexor digitorum profundus is there with the tendons getting separated. So we have 4 tendons which will be individually going to the medial 4 digits. Which are the medial 4 digits? The second, third, fourth, and fifth. This is the first digit. Then we have the second, third, fourth, and fifth. So the medial 4 digits, these are the medial 4 digits, and they are the insertion points of this particular muscle. So let's see in detail like where it gets inserted. So you can see this particular tendon is like running downwards, and this is the metacarpal. Okay, these 4 are the metacarpals, and then we have the phalanges here, the proximal phalanx, then the middle phalanx, and the distal phalanx here. So you can see the tendon is passing all the way down and finally getting inserted to the base of the distal phalanx. And to be more precise, it is inserted to the palmar surface of the base of the distal phalanx. So that is the insertion point of flexor digitorum profundus. But on the way as it goes, it pierces the flexor digitorum superficialis tendon. We have to see how it penetrates through that, right? So I have another picture to show you that. So here you can see, first you just look at the picture here. In this diagram, I have incorporated the flexor digitorum superficialis tendon as well. So you know already that as it reaches the tendon of flexor digitorum superficialis, as it reaches the proximal phalanx, it will split up into 2 slips, right? There is a medial slip, and a lateral slip, and it will get inserted to the middle phalanx. on the either sides of middle phalanx. For all the tendons, it is the same criteria, like it will divide into a medial slip and a lateral slip and get inserted to the middle phalanx. So at that splitting point, you can see a small canal is formed, and you can see the green color flexor digitorum profundus tendon penetrating through that and finally getting inserted to the palmar surface of base of the distal phalanx. So this is the actual root of this particular tendon. So this is how it gets inserted to the distal phalanx. So this is what like it was previously described here. Opposite to the proximal phalanx, the tendon of flexor digitorum profundus perforates the tendon of flexor digitorum superficialis and finally get inserted to the palmar surface of base of distal phalanx of the finger. So that defines the insertion point. Then we have to see the nerve supply. So this particular muscle is having a medial half that will be coming over here, and there is a lateral half. So which nerve will be supplying the medial half? Since it is like in close relation to the ulnar nerve, the medial side will be supplied by the ulnar nerve and the lateral half will be supplied by the anterior interosseous nerve. And what will be the actions? I have told you already, it is the flexor of distal phalanges after the flexor digitorum superficialis flexes the middle phalanges. So once this flexor digitorum superficialis is flexing the middle phalanges, when it contracts, it will pull the middle phalanges and it will cause the flexion. And at the same time, the flexion of the distal phalanx is caused by the flexor digitorum profundus. And it is a stiff gripping muscle of the hand. It helps in the gripping of objects in the hand. Then also, it helps in the flexion of the other joints like the metacarpophalangeal joints, because when it is pulled, it will create a tension over these all joints, right? The metacarpo-interphalangeal joints. Then we have the wrist joint. So it creates like a pulling over all these joints and it aids in this flexion of all these joints here. Then we have the second muscle, that is the flexor pollicis longus. So as the name suggests, pollicis means it refers to the thumb. So this is the pollicis. And flexor pollicis longus, so obviously it will be inserted to the thumb. So we'll start with the origin. It is originating from the upper 3/4 of anterior surface of shaft of radius. So here you can see this is the lateral bone, that is the radius. So it is originating from the upper 3/4 of anterior surface of shaft of the radius and also the adjoining part of anterior surface of the interosseous membrane. So these both muscles have a set of fibers arising from the interosseous membrane as well. And these particular muscle fibers will converge and finally form a single tendon, and that will be inserted to the distal phalanx of the thumb, same as that of the flexor digitorum profundus. There it was the medial 4 digits, here it is only the single digit, that is nothing but the thumb. Then it is inserted to the palmar surface of distal phalanx of the thumb. And nerve supply, it is supplied by the anterior interosseous nerve. And actions, it helps in the flexion of distal phalanx of the thumb. So it's very easy to remember, right? So these are the nerve supply, action, origin and insertion of the flexor pollicis longus. Then we have the third muscle, that is pronator quadratus. So as the name suggests, it helps in the pronation of the forearm, and quadratus refers to the shape of this muscle. Here you can see the diagram where it is almost quadrangular in shape, and that is the reason why it is called as pronator quadratus. And the origin of pronator quadratus is from the oblique ridge on the lower 1/4 of anterior surface of shaft of the ulna and the area medial to it. So this is the ulna here, you can see the medial bone. So here from the lower part of the anterior surface of the shaft of the ulna and the area medial to it will give origin for the fibers of the pronator quadratus. And insertion is having some difference. It is having a peculiarity. It has got two functions, and that is the reason why it has got two insertion points. So the whole fibers of the pronator quadratus is divided into two groups. There is a superficial group of fibers and deep group of fibers. The superficial group of fibers is inserted into the lower 1/4 of anterior surface and anterior border of the radius. So this is the anterior surface, and the anterior border of radius is the insertion point of the superficial fibers of pronator quadratus, while the deep fibers are inserted to the triangular area above the ulnar notch. So here you can see this is the cross section. If I make a cross section here, a transverse section in this particular plane, the particular section will look like this. Here you can see this is the medial ulnar bone, and here laterally you can see the radius bone cross section. So from the ulna the fibers are arising. These are the superficial fibers which I am touching right now, is the superficial fibers that will be inserted to the anterior border and anterior surface of the radius, and we have the deep fibers which are going and attaching to the triangular area above the ulnar notch of radius. So these are the two fibers. And what about the nerve supply? This particular muscle is also supplied by the anterior interosseous nerve. And the actions, there comes the important part, where the superficial fibers, since they are inserted here on the anterior surface, helps in the pronation of the forearm, while the inner fibers or the deep fibers which are inserted to the triangular area above the ulnar notch, that will act as a binding part which binds together the lower end of radius and the ulna. So these particular two bones are held together by a group of ligaments as well as the deep fibers of pronator quadratus. So this concludes the deep flexor group of muscles of forearm. Thank you.